Welcome back to the outside the workshop. I just took this shot because not so long ago it was raining and hailing, and look at the sky now. Geez, what weather we get. Anyway, on a more sobering note, look what we have here. We have the bar fully drilled and holes tapped, and I've got enough 8mm bushings to occupy 2/3 of it. This one here would be this one, pointing the camera in the right direction. This one here would be the 1500 measurement bush, so that I could go down to that very first one, up to this one here, and then lay out with my other ones that I've yet to make, the 3-4-5 method. You can see that, well, hopefully, you can see the aspirations that I had for this, still have, and because I can have a single bar like this with the holes done at 100mm, not 96, but 100mm, when I come over to my work surface, I can, let's just make a space. I did not prepare this earlier, but I'm just turning it round. I can align my nice straight edge, which hopefully it's still straight, but I can align the straight edge with my edge of my timber, gauge it off to whatever distance I deem necessary, and then I can clamp it down, but then I can put a mark all the way along using an 8mm center drill to give me a nice, accurate and small spot in my melamine to locate the very tip of the 20mm bench dog hole drill bit thingy. And that way I can have at it and drill all of my holes in one go. No, now I'll back that up a little bit. Whoa, coming out of my mouth, I could hear it. I spot drill all of the spot drill marks using the 3-4-5 method, with an occasional registration pin being drilled out at the full diameter of whichever bush I have in here. I'm thinking at this stage it may be an 8mm, because the other jigs are set up with 8mm, and just as I said, using the fineness of the pilot hole from the centering bit to give me that location, or a full 8mm so I can register it, and then I can leapfrog it along and register it in those holes. Those 8mm, fully 8mm holes won't be the first one, or will it? Probably not. I don't know. I'll figure it out, because we want the registration point for the 3-4-5ing to be as exact as possible. Still tossing up that point, or it is the point that I need to make 8mm so I can drop a pin in. Now that probably makes more sense. So the first bit of that explanation, forget. The second one is drill this one out at 8mm, drill this one out at 8mm, and then one or two further along to also allow me to, as I say, leapfrog it across. It may be, spitballing this, that because this is a 3 times the 3-4-5, I make one at the 6 and 1200 mark. So the 3, 6, or 3, 6 and 9, and they could become the registration points, and you can do the 3-4-5 from that pin. The reason I'm saying this is because as soon as I drill that with 8mm hole, it makes it harder to drill that out at 20. So the intention is once I've got all the other holes marked, I can then fill the registration holes, the 8mm, fully 8mm holes, in with an 8mm dowel. And then I can spot mark that, and then I can drill the whole thing out, dowel and all, with the 20mm drill bit. Yippee. Now, I have done a very rudimentary with a builder's tape, which is not an engineering type tape. I've given myself a little bit of slack in saying, is that one mark accurate? Is that 1500 mark accurate? And as best I can, yes, well, ish. It's as good as builder's tape can give. Now, I'm just putting my glasses on. Let's have a bit of a closer look. Remembering there's knurling and a little chamfer on that. It looks pretty darn good, actually. 900. I reckon there's a little bit of a discrepancy there. What do you say? I reckon there could be anything up to 0.5 mil there. And that actually might be slightly under. And there is, if that's correct, therein lies the problem. If there is that variance, any row of holes that are built off of one of those not perfectly accurate holes is going to cause issues. It is also why, like Peter Parfitt, when he was saying with his Parf dog system, start in the middle of your sheet and work either way to try and neutralize that. And that was one of the things I thought about with this, is that I can start my 3-4-5ing off of one of the pins in the middle of the bar and force the bar out into the square with the 4-5 method. In fact, I'll reword that. This bar is set in concrete, as it would in melamine, the starting line, and then you can use those holes that you've created with this bar as your base upon which you can do the 3-4-5 method, depending on where you want your most accurate alignment. Now you would be saying, David, if you get it right, they're all accurate, and you'd be quite right. And that is why I went down to the local one of the laser cutting companies, and once I go inside, I'll be sending them off an email to ask them, how much is it to get these bars, actually I'll talk about that in a minute, but these bars cut by them. And if it's not prohibitively, I need a cup of tea. If it's not too expensive, I'll get them to do it, because I can't tolerate. Well, here's the thing. You seeing this and hopefully thinking that I had done a reasonable job at trying to get it as accurate as possible, if I'm not happy with it at the end, that is something there now that you don't have to do. And it may be that you save the pennies and go to a machining shop or something, or Pro Metal laser cutting company to get it done. Equally, you can ignore what I just said and do it yourself anyway, and if it works out, yay, you'll be happy. But I went to quite an extent to do this. It wasn't that expensive, but it was, as I said, a sunk cost. Whether I'm using the right term, I don't know. But it's money that I may not get back to any benefit. So now I know. So the experience was the cost so far, has given me that experience. So I can't really write it off as a loss completely if I've gained experience. Okay, darn it. Do I now drill that? Oh, that's the other thing. I asked them if I can bring the steel in for them to cut, and he says no, they cut it out of a sheet, and that is why the width is so important, so accurate, because the strips that I had made were very, very accurate. Thank you very much. So I said to them I'd wanted 40 mil wide. It's going to be cut out of the sheet. I might go 50. It's going to be bloody heavy and a bit of overkill, but if that means that if I line the edge up of the metal, which will be much more accurate because it's off the laser cutter, then I can line it up, and the first row of holes will be 25 millimeters in from the edge. I might also get them to do a double set or a length with holes closer than the 100, possibly the 25 millimeter, and that'll give me the chance to do those intermediate holes should I need them. The other option, of course, is to get a little plate made up with a series of holes all over it, and that could be the master plate for doing the jigs that you then could put onto the MFT type of top. Lots of ifs, buts and maybes, isn't there? Okay, now you know where I'm at. Kind of like where it went, but I need to get it to that nth degree so I can lie in bed and not contemplate the shortcomings of my metalworking efforts. Anyway, it's the right... If I get it perfect, perfect is relative, but if I get it to the point where I can make benefit of the laser cutting accuracies, I think I'm going to be better off. Be that it might cost a few dollars. Rightio, that's it. Going in for a cuppa. See you later now. Bye.